President Zelensky of Ukraine has visited the southern city of Kherson just days after his troops recaptured it following Russia's withdrawal. President Zelensky addressed some of his soldiers and sang the national anthem as the Ukrainian flag was raised over the city. Kherson was taken by Russia early on in the war, and its recapture by Ukraine is a major strategic blow for the Kremlin. Katrin Byura-Hanga reports from the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv.
Scenes that were unimaginable just a few weeks ago. President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kherson, singing the national anthem as the Ukrainian flag is raised once again in front of the regional administrative building. He came to show support to the people here who have lived under Russian occupation for 8 months, and to send a message to the world that Ukraine has the upper hand in its fight against Russia's aggression. Zelensky was asked if this was the beginning of the end of the war.
This is the beginning of the end of the war. Because you see our strong army, we are step by step coming to our country, to all the temporary occupied territories.
A hero's welcome. But from people who still have no power, water, medicines, and even bread. It will be a huge task to get basic services back to Kherson, especially because shelling and artillery fire continues around the city. Russian forces are just a few kilometers away across the Dnipro River. President Zelensky is seizing the moment to showcase Ukraine's latest success on the battlefield. Victories are hard to come by in this brutal war. Katrin Byura-Hanga, BBC News, Kyiv.
Now, as we saw in that report by our correspondent Katrin Byura-Hanga, those jubilant scenes in Kherson as people were celebrating its liberation from Russian forces. But let us bring you one resident who describes what life was like under Russian occupation.
All this time we were like in prison. We could walk around the city, but everywhere we saw these Russian troops with weapons, and you couldn't bring your mobile with you because they can read it. They could read what you have in it. They could just catch you.
And she is a teacher who was living under that occupation. Well, let's turn now to Oleksiy Beloshytsky, who is the first Deputy Chief of the Patrol Police of Ukraine and who is in Kherson region and working in Kherson city today. So what was it like? Talk me through about entering that city as it was liberated.
Hello, and I would like actually to share that the entering the city was, I don't know, it was deep in our hearts because people were expecting us, they were hugging us, there was a lot of crying, and everyone was carrying flags around, I mean like real flags of Ukraine. And everyone was so happy of the occupation, and it is something that is most dear to every soldier, every military man, police officer, and other people that are actually fighting for that, fighting for our people, for our homeland, and probably for those welcomes that we had in Kherson. It is unforgettable and unbelievable.
Unforgettable and unbelievable. And what did you think when you got to Kherson about what you saw or how the people are?
To my humble opinion and my personal opinion, I would say that people were in a lot of stress, depression, and a lot of fear of everything that was going on during the occupation. And afterwards, I mean, like when we deoccupied this territory and the city, what we saw and what there is right now is destruction, is no electricity, no water, no means of survival. So everything that is needed for the survival, for not a normal life, but for the life itself, is brought to the city right now. Water, food, medical aid, support, everything is brought. So actually the occupants, Russian Federation, has destroyed everything and left the city basically dying. But what we are doing now is the stabilization, is the full support and full coverage for the people that are waiting for it. And as police right now, we're doing not only policing duties, and as you may know, the patrol police and the whole national police of Ukraine is present in the city already. And not only the police, other services and government bodies have been instituted in the city, not working full capacity right now, but let's say preparing for the services they will provide in the future. But what is the most important is the repairment of the electricity and water right now.
So you're really looking forward towards the construction, and it's fascinating to hear your stories on how you were greeted in that city. But I was hearing earlier that when Mr. Zelensky visited, there was still shelling taking place. I mean, does the city feel like a safe place to you?
I would tell you frankly that no city in Ukraine is feeling a safe place right now. And Kherson is the closest place to the front line right now. Before that, it was Mykolaiv. Right now, it's Kherson. So I wouldn't say that it could be felt as a safe place. It is a deoccupied city. It is a city that we actually it came back to Ukraine, came back home, but still it can be shelled, it can be fired at.
I understand, so it's still fragile in some ways. And just before I let you go, Oleksiy,
exactly, yeah.
When you joined the patrol police, did you ever think you would have a day like this?
I didn't. I couldn't imagine it, but to say that we were not preparing ourselves inside us, it would be wrong. So we felt that something might come, and we had to be ready for it, and we are.
Oleksiy Belashitsky, thank you so much for joining us. He is the first Deputy Chief of the Patrol Police of Ukraine and in the Kherson region.